Anyone that's been following the murder of Mollie Tibbetts has now discovered that there was a very unexpected twist that just happened over the past several hours. Mollie Tibbetts' murder suspect, Christian Rivera, originally from Mexico, was living in the U.S. illegally. So we have another Kate Steinle on our hands here. Um, Suspect in the murder of Iowa College student Mollie Tibbetts is a 24-year-old illegal immigrant from Mexico who has been living in the area for up to 7 years, officials revealed Tuesday. Christian Bahena Rivera was apprehended more than a month after the 20-year-old University of Utah student disappeared. Rick Ron, special agent charged with the Iowa Division of Criminal Investigation, said during a news conference. Tibbetts was last seen jogging on July 18th near Brooklyn, Iowa, in Pasco County where Rivera lives. So basically, she was out jogging. It sounds like this guy nabbed her and killed her, and they found her body on Tuesday. And Rivera led authorities to the location, Ross said, adding that her body was found hidden in a cornfield beneath several corn stalks. So the main suspect led him right to the body, and they now find out he's an illegal immigrant. So the left is really going to hate this.
Oh yeah, it's another like person, a legal immigrant who's been living here for 7 years, which is ridiculous. If Trump would have been able to go and like enforce his law and kick all the illegal immigrants out, she'd be alive today. And it's a lot of them are like, oh, a lot of the left, they're like, oh, these illegal immigrants, they're not hurting anyone, they're just here. And sure, many of them are just over here, but then you get people like this, and they might just see him over here once in a while. And he's like, oh, he's working probably on a farm or something, illegally taking jobs. But then on top of that, he ends up murdering somebody. And it's not like particularly like they do. There's a lot of crime that goes on with illegal immigrants, and people like the left just goes and glosses over this. And this has been a huge deal. Like for the past month, I've been trying to go and find her. She was like engaged, I think, and I feel really bad for her family and her, I guess, be ex fiance at this point, or the person, the relationship that he was in. 'Cause this guy just like apparently was like following her, and then he claims to have like blacked out. He forgets what happens, but leads him to the body, and there's like blood in the truck. Like, come on, and this is pretty shut and dry case, like cut and dry case. We have a problem in this country, and this is just one of the many cases where an illegal immigrant murders a United States citizen. There's Kate Steinle, or yeah, the Kate Steinle murders, where the guy ended up shooting somebody, and she like, and he didn't even get charged for like murder. He got charged with like a guns crime, and like
Yeah.
it was something stupid because in California that he ended up getting 30 years, but he didn't even get charged with like first degree murder for shooting somebody. And we need to go and do something. This is a major issue, and hopefully this will get people to wake up right before elections. Like this is a huge deal. This can happen in your neighborhood.
This
Like
is
you don't know.
Iowa. This wasn't California or New Mexico. This was Iowa, the Midwest.
Yeah, like it could literally happen anywhere where we have these things going on. We need to go and vet these people. And we need to go and do serious vetting. We need to lower, I think, overall immigration needs to be lowered. And we need to go and vet those that we do let in to go and stop people like murderers like this. Because we don't know what sort of like records he could have had in whatever other country he was from. Like he could be he might have like a tendency towards violence. And if that happened and he came in here illegally, then that just shows we need to have more border security. And I hope that Trump capitalizes on this and says, hey, this we need to go and take immigration seriously. This is a huge issue right over here. You see, this is the second, like major like case where someone's murdered by an illegal immigrant. Because I've heard like people they were freaking out over this. Like people were thinking the dad knew where she was, and like, and I
Yeah.
feel really bad for him because now, people were thinking that he was the one who killed, like who knew her whereabouts. But no, it wasn't him. The only person who knew was an illegal immigrant who hid her body.
Yeah, and the thing with this is where people say, "Oh, come on, any group's going to commit murder. Like it's going to happen. Like you're just cherry picking things here." Yep. No, we're not because this is a case where you have people in this country that shouldn't be here in the first place. So that's the big problem here is that you have people that shouldn't be here that are disproportionately committing crimes. So obviously this is a problem, and you would think it would. I think I said this in our last video that it should be common sense common sense, common ground, whatever term you're going to use. It should be common ground that we should deport all criminal illegals. But I bet there are people in California that say, no, you should keep this guy. I don't know why they think that. It's like the Steinle case. The guy got off because he said, "Oh, the gun, it just went off. Like I didn't intend to shoot Kate Steinle. Like it just went off. I just found this gun laying here, and it just happened to go off. Like that was literally their defense, and it got him off of it. But this guy was an illegal living in the area for 7 years. I bet you he has a criminal record already. They didn't say in the article that he does. ICE hasn't said that he does. Nobody has said it yet, but I bet you he has a criminal record. I think those with criminal records should be deported immediately. That should be priority. I can understand that there are, some pretty harmless, ones that come over that do have good intentions, but, I don't know if that's the majority of them, because we really don't know how many are here.
Oh yeah, and it's not just like these flat out murder cases. There's a lot of like I know people who live in near the border. And there's a lot of cases where they're doing illegal hit and run cases. They'll go and they'll be driving drunk. There's a lot of DUIs, a lot of car accidents, and then they end up or they'll swipe a car, and because they're illegal, they won't leave their insurance information.
Yep.
They don't got any,
Yep.
and that causes everyone's insurance to go up because people who shouldn't be here are committing crimes and driving dangerously. And there's hit and runs. People have died from it. This is a serious issue over here. And these are just as the left would probably going to say, oh, well, this is a rare case. Yeah, but you see a lot more common cases with, they're smuggling a lot of drugs like fentanyl and whatnot into the United States, heroin that comes from the southern border. They do a lot of gang activity with MS-13. They've invaded our middle schools. There was that one case. I think we did a video on that a while ago. And they're still over here. I don't even know how bad they are. Thankfully, my school wasn't like that. And hit and runs and just straight up murders. We need to go and vet these people when they're at the border. And if they're coming over illegally, you can't vet them. You don't know who's coming over because if they could come here legally, they would. So obviously they couldn't come here legally, and that could mean they could be good people, but chances are, if they would go and come over just through the southern border, not even with a visa, that means that they probably couldn't get a visa, which means that there's a decent, a lot higher chance of them being criminals prior to that, and recidivism in crime is it can be pretty high in some of these countries that have them come over here. So I think this is a major issue, and we need to go and make a big deal about this come November. November 2018, those elections are coming up. This needs to be a big thing on the table. The left is going to be like, oh, we need to impeach Trump over some Russian conspiracy theory that would make Alex Jones blush. But this is the real deal. These are killing Americans. And it's not just that. You get people addicted to drugs. You get people getting their property damaged. You have just a whole load of issues. And then if they have kids and their kids are allowed to go to public schools, I believe in some states, if not all of them.
In some states,
yeah, and then that's a burn on the education system because they need to go and make everyone learn Spanish or have translators who they can cost a decent bit of money. And then training people who shouldn't have to go and learn two languages to speak two languages. This is America. You shouldn't have to. English is more or less a national or official language, even though we don't officially have one. It's de facto an official language. At least where I've been, I've never had places. When my mom came over to America, she didn't no one was learning German to go and give her everything. But now when I call up customer support, it's press 1 for English, press 2 for Spanish or English or whatever. They give them so much stuff over here, and they should be the ones who are willing to go and change their culture, not us.
Yeah, they're coming here. They're coming into our culture. They're leaving their culture. Obviously you can bring some stuff with it, but there's some stuff that's pretty basic that language is very fundamental for society to communicate and to operate. It's one of those fundamental things is to have a common language. And that's why Trump is supporting, I think it's called the RAISE Act. I probably have the acronym wrong, but it basically has a merit-based immigration system. It fully funds the wall, and it makes English the national language. I'm down with that 100,000%. See, if we had a wall, if we had proper border security and funding, this probably, this guy wouldn't have gotten in, but we didn't. So why the fuck is Congress still sitting around not funding Trump's wall.
Oh yeah, like and then look at Mexico. They have a harder immigration stance than we do. They have higher requirements for languages. They have a national language. It's called Spanish in their country, and that's fine. Why don't we have one? Like back in the 1700s, it made sense because there was a lot of like French and German and whatever bunch of other places. But for the past like 100 years, people learned English pretty well, and it was de facto our language. But now for some reason, people are trying to go and change that. Like, look, if you want to learn Spanish and speak in your house, or if you want to go make your own Spanish business, like, I could care less. Just like if it's a business, I think you should offer in English, but the free market will deal with that. But I don't want you to go and force other people to learn Spanish because that's not America. Like, I mean, yeah, it's not really American in this day and age. Like, we speak English over here. Pretty much everyone learns English. It's it might be a bit of a weird language, but since everyone learns it, it makes things easier. We shouldn't be forced to go and change our way of life to go and support immigrants. If I moved to Japan today and I said, oh, I don't want to speak Japanese, I want them to go and speak English, you know what they would do? Oh, I'd be like laughed out of there. That's what. They
Yeah.
wouldn't care.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better. I mean, that's, the U.S. I know we're definitely multi-ethnic, a makeup of a country. Like, there's a lot of different people, but what makes America America is our national culture, our national sort of cohesion, I guess you say, that keeps society together, it keeps us unified. There's a certain bit of unity like that that's good for society, that keeps people together, that keeps people happy, has a national pride. And that's why Trump's message is so successful. America first, everything's pro-America. It's very successful because it's very unifying. It's not identity politics in terms of, hey, you're black, you better vote for this because you're black, or hey, you're gay, you gotta vote this because we say so. No, it's you are an American. Yes, your group can have problems and there are concerns, but you are an American first, and that is what brings us all together. I mean, it's pretty basic, but when you talk to a lot of leftists, they don't think that way.
Oh, I absolutely agree. I think that one of the main things is that the left likes to bring it back. Oh, in the 1700s, we're a nation of immigrants. Well, every nation, when they're first founded, like a nation that was originally a colony, they're always going to have, like, you need to have immigration to go and, like, fill it up. And that's kind of what we had to go and do. Like, look at Australia. Like, they need immigrants for a while. They just have them from England. They get them from other places. That doesn't. But now we've developed our own culture. It's not the same America that it was in like the 1700s because we have people living here now who are
Yeah.
who aren't just Native Americans or like English colonists. Like, we have our own unique culture. We're not England anymore. We're not any other country. We're Americans. We have our own values. We do things our way. We have we use the imperial system. We don't use no fancy metric learnings over here. We use inches and yards and gallons and quarts. We don't use, and we do it our own way. Say that some of those are a little bit stupid.
I was gonna
We can
say,
have,
to be honest, I'd get rid of that and put the metric system in.
but it's still the way that we do things over here. It's our culture, and we can't have people who just want to go and change it for the sake of changing it.
Yeah.
Like Spanish, that was never the official language. Like, it was originally founded by like the 13 colonies from England for the most part. You got a couple of them like later on who we got from like the French and the Spanish and yada yada yada. But we were basically English colonists, and we are our own culture now. We're not England, thank God. We're not France. We're not Germany. We're not Spain. We're not Mexico. We're Americans. So they're got to go, and they hate the idea that we're an unapologetic nation. Like, we have our own culture. That's something that the left doesn't understand. When the Statue of Liberty was made, like, America was only like maybe 100 200 years old, maybe like 150, something like that. I don't remember the exact date off the top of my head, but things have changed. We're unique people. We're unique ethnic, like our American cultural group. So yeah, and I think that the first step is we need to go and start lowering immigration. It's not, we've changed. Like, back then too, you had factories and it was a lot of manual labor. We don't need as much immigration anymore. And it'd be better if we had like people in our own nation having kids. who would go and have American values, who know to go and speak the language because their parents both know how to speak the language. And if they don't, they want to go and learn how to speak the language. And we have people who have, it's mostly like the deal with values. It'd be a lot easier just to go and have that than to go and bring a bunch of people into the United States, especially when they come in illegally. Let's go and work on making America the best dang country in the world.